There are few players who have truly redefined the art of goal scoring, but one man stands out among them. His talent was not just about finishing, it was about creating moments that would be remembered for decades. Imagine a player who didn't rely on physicality, but rather on precision, intelligence, and instinct. A player whose first touch could determine the fate of a match. A player whose every goal seemed inevitable, effortless, and often unstoppable. This striker's rise from the working-class streets of London to the grandest stages in football is the stuff of legend. But this wasn't a career without challenges. His path was one of triumph, heartache, and redemption. His name? It might be familiar to some, but his story goes far beyond the pitch. Let's uncover the journey of a player whose influence on football extends far beyond the records he left behind. His name is Jimmy Greaves. He was born in 1940. In the gritty streets of East London, he grew up in an era defined by post-war struggles and social upheaval. Football was his escape, and the streets were his training ground. Long before joining the youth academy at Chelsea, he had already perfected the art of scoring, whether it was with a ball made from rags or a proper leather football. By the age of 17, his talent was undeniable, and it wasn't long before Chelsea noticed. His debut in 1957 was a turning point. Not just a debut, but a statement. He was here to dominate. Scoring in his first match, he announced himself as a striker who could score from any angle, in any situation. His ability to find the back of the net was so instinctive that defenders seemed powerless against him. Over the course of 4 seasons at Chelsea, he amassed 124 goals in just 157 appearances, a record that still stands to this day. But it wasn't all just about the goals. Off the pitch, he remained humble, riding public transport and sharing simple meals with his teammates. His lifestyle reflected the working-class roots he never let go of, even as his fame grew. He was a star, but his down-to-earth nature kept him connected to the world that raised him. And yet, as his career at Chelsea flourished, the world beyond Stamford Bridge was calling. His next challenge lay elsewhere. In 1961, as his star continued to rise, a new chapter beckoned. AC Milan, one of Europe's most prestigious clubs, offered him a lucrative deal, and he made the bold decision to leave London behind. The promise of playing in Italy, one of the powerhouses of European football, was too tempting to resist. But Milan's rigid style, coupled with a language barrier and homesickness, made the transition difficult. Though he managed 9 goals in 14 appearances, the dream of Italian football quickly soured. The pressure of adapting to a new culture and the expectations that came with a hefty price tag led to his return to England. It was here that Tottenham Hotspur, recognizing his potential, swooped in with a record-breaking £99,999 transfer fee. Spurs saw in him the perfect player to spearhead their attack, and it didn't take long for him to make his mark. At Tottenham, he became part of one of the most lethal attacking units in England. His natural instincts, ability to read the game, and lethal finishing made him a standout performer. One of his greatest moments came during an international match in 1960 when he dazzled spectators at Wembley. Against Spain, he weaved through a defensive line that included some of the finest defenders of the time, scoring a goal that would go down in history as a testament to his brilliance. But beyond his goals, what defined him at Tottenham was his consistency. In a time when other strikers relied on physicality and speed, he used his mind, constantly outsmarting defenders and finding pockets of space. His partnership with Bobby Smith and Alan Gilzean was devastating. Together, they formed a front line that could break down any defense. While his time at Spurs was filled with glory, it also marked a period of personal struggle. Despite his on-field success, the pressures of fame, the demands of a professional athlete's life, and the emotional toll of his earlier experiences began to take their toll. And so the journey took a darker turn, one that would reveal the hidden struggles of a football genius. The 1960s and 1970s were a period of immense change, not only in football but also in the life of this footballing icon. As his fame reached its zenith, so too did the weight of the world on his shoulders. The relentless demands of the game, compounded by mounting injuries and the physical toll of playing, in one of the world's most grueling leagues, started to take their toll. As the years wore on, his coping mechanisms began to shift. What was once a refuge, football, became a source of intense pressure. He turned to alcohol, seeking solace in a substance that provided temporary relief, but ultimately exacerbated his troubles. His addiction spiraled, and by the late 1960s, he found himself battling demons that extended far beyond the football pitch. His performances suffered, and his off-field behavior became erratic. During this time, the stigma surrounding mental health and addiction in professional sports was almost non-existent. No one was talking about the pressures athletes faced away from the spotlight. But this man's struggles didn't go unnoticed by those close to him, and he knew that something had to change. He sought help and began the arduous journey of recovery, one that would reshape the narrative of his life. In later years, he became one of the most vocal advocates for addiction recovery. He used his platform not just to speak about his own struggles, but to help others understand the importance of mental health in sports. His candidness about his battles broke down walls, and in doing so, he became a beacon of hope for many. His life story was no longer just about the goals he scored or the titles he won. It was about overcoming personal obstacles and redefining what it meant to be a champion. As the 1970s arrived, this football icon knew his time on the pitch was nearing its end. His body had endured countless battles, and although his mind remained sharp, it was time to step away from the game. But the football world hadn't seen the last of him. In retirement, he transitioned seamlessly into punditry, using his sharp wit and candid observations to become a beloved figure on British television. Alongside Ian St. John, he co-hosted the iconic show Saint and Grievesy, where his charm, humor, and deep football knowledge won him a new generation of fans. Despite no longer playing, his impact on the game was undeniable. He used his platform to continue influencing the football world, speaking about the sport with an authority that came from years of experience. He wasn't just a former player, he was a respected voice within the football community, and his opinions were valued by fans and pundits alike. In 2021, in recognition of his contributions both on and off the field, he was awarded the Member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE. This honor was a fitting tribute to a man who had given so much to the game and whose journey had transcended the world of football. But just months after receiving this accolade, tragedy struck. At the age of 81, he passed away, leaving the football world in mourning. On the day of his passing, both Tottenham and Chelsea paid tribute to their former star. A minute of applause echoed through the stands of both clubs, a poignant reminder of the mark he had left on the game. His legacy was not just in the goals he scored, but in the lives he touched, the conversations he sparked, and the trail he blazed for others to follow. This was not just a story about a striker who scored goals. It was a story about a man who lived a life filled with highs and lows, victories and struggles, triumphs and challenges. His legacy is about more than just football. It's about the resilience of the human spirit. The man who once seemed untouchable, who rewrote the book on finishing, also showed the world the power of recovery, the importance of mental health, and the strength that comes from within. His life story is one that will continue to inspire generations, because it's not just about how you perform on the pitch, but about how you overcome the struggles off it. From the streets of East London to the grandest stages in Europe, this football icon's story will forever be intertwined with the very fabric of football history. His name, his legacy, will live on in the hearts of fans and in the history books as a testament to the power of perseverance. As we close the chapter on this remarkable story, it's clear that the impact of this football legend extends far beyond the game itself. From the highs of unforgettable goals to the personal battles that reshaped his life, his journey has been a testament to resilience, talent, and the spirit of overcoming adversity. This isn't just the story of a footballer, it's the story of a man whose legacy continues to inspire, whose life continues to teach. Football is a game of passion, but sometimes it's the stories behind the game that leave the greatest mark. As we reflect on the remarkable life of the striker, let us remember that every player has a story worth telling, and every journey, no matter how challenging, is worth understanding. If this story has resonated with you, then it has done its job. Keep these stories alive, share, and let the legacy of those who shaped the game inspire the next generation.